So here what we have got, so if I show you the actual sequence here, how this is all planned out. So firstly, obviously we're gonna work on the plate. Okay, so this is our plate which you're gonna be using it. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to work on, if you see this car here, it's quite kind of, I want to blend this car more into the lighter color. So what we're going to do, remember we were looking at rotoscoping, and now we're actually doing rotoscoping in a way that we are actually using within the shot. So firstly, of course, we're going to create a rotoscope, and then if I just go on the color correct here, if I just kind of blur that, oops. So if I just double click on here, I can just see that. So if I manipulate my color correct from this point, I can kind of see, and I'll take you all to this. See that? So now it's kind of blending nicely. Before it was quite a harsh color there, so it was too obvious. So we want to distract people's eye from just kind of that point here. And obviously we're going to animate all that. If I can show you the rotor, this is what we did in here. Image that out, and then we take it from there. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to start working on it now. And if I just start bringing in my stuff here, so let me just kind of bring this, so hopefully you can follow me as well. So firstly, obviously we're going to just look at our clip. Let's go down. It's still on alpha channel. Let's go to RGB. Right, so let's work on this shot here. First of all, let's create a rotor node. Okay, and what I would like you guys to do, just simply double click on here and start making your rotor here. Just make sure that you do use the Bezier curve. So if you can go right, and you can see what I'm doing here, I'm just literally, of course I don't have to explain how the rotor node works, because now we are actually implying that within a shot. So if you can just have a quick look what I'm doing, let's bring that in a bit more. I don't think so we need the tires, we can just kind of start doing that. Okay, so once you are happy with that, and of course make sure that this is connected, the background is connected into the actual footage itself. And what we're going to do here, if I can start looking at animating this, so if I can bring this here, and if I play this now, watch this. Okay, so let's animate that. So let's go back, simple as it is. So just highlight your rotor, come in, and just go at the end frame, your 50 frame, and then simply drag it somewhere up here. Yes, there'll be slight settings, slight changes. So you see like something like that. I can bring it down a little bit. That's fine. Again, here as well, you can see that there's changes there. Oops. So you can obviously make changes. Just kind of have a look what you're doing. I mean, Nuke is all about, you know, your observation on a shot. There's never kind of a right way or a wrong way, but as long as you know how to use the tools. And now when I animate that, watch this, see, so it's literally animating with that. Okay, so if I just play this back, there's a slight glitch there. See that? So that's obviously it goes back to normal, but here, what I need somewhere in the middle. There you go. So hopefully this would work. One, and I'm happy with that. Okay. Once you've done that, I'm going to just simply click on here and just put a color correct node on this box here. See that? I've got the color correct node. And I'm going to just double click on it, and then I'm going to just simply desaturate that. See that at the moment it's desaturating the whole footage. Okay. And what really I want to do is only, if I just bring this here, only desaturate the car. So you see you got two masks here. So you got your mask coming in, but you need the mask output. So this mask need to be connected here. So whatever I've rotated, I need to mask that out. So is that making sense? So rather than putting the mask in here, see that it will desaturate everything. So what I need to do is simply take this in, bring this mask here, and now if I can open up my my desaturation, and I'm gonna just just literally bring it down a little bit so that it doesn't look too odd on here as well. And of course, just remember that we can even really go in depth as well. Remember when what I was talking about, as soon as you click on that, you can do a little bit of feathering, bring it down, just try to tighten up your rotor. And this and that's why I was giving you all the exercise to do your rotoscoping, because especially with shots like these, it's really important for you to understand how you can really get it on a nice kind of blend way. So now you can see that I've got a nice shot running there. I'm absolutely happy with this. So let me just come off from here, and there we go. So that's my first shot done. Okay, so if you want to just kind of start working on that, I'm going to just come around, because I'm not going to rush this. I'm going to literally see how you guys are getting on. Okay, so once we have got this sorted, okay, so now remember guys, so we have actually planned the shot. So whenever you are thinking of a VFX scene, you got to plan ahead. You need to think, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is how I want to do it, and this is the best way I want to work on it. So for example, if I, sorry, just give me one sec. It was quite silly actually. I should have known. So if I just go and blur that off, let's say I'm blurring this. So if I just, actually, let me just, rather than just kind of make one like that. Okay, so that's my blur there. So I've got one big stretch there, and what I'm going to do is say all frames, and what it does, see that? So it just kind of takes over that. Yeah, can you see the screen there on there? So you got a screen up there on if you just look, there we go. So let me just repeat this exercise again. So get a rotor pane node, double click on it, and I'm going to just literally get rid of this sign here. I'm going to just literally draw a line there, and there we go. I'm happy with that. Perfect. And once I've done that, I can just go to all frames, and what it will do is simply will make sure that that sign is removed. There you go. And of course it's quite a background really at the back there. Okay. Okay, so now once we have gone this far here, okay, so right, so if you can all please have a look at this stage here, because I don't want to fast forward myself. So once if you have got your blur sorted, and I'm happy with that, look at that. So I've kind of removed this part here. Let's go back in here and let's try to play this now. Okay, so once I'm done with that, make sure you click on here, click outside anywhere, and just press your tab key. And we're going to have a merge node in this, so just go and click on the merge node, and remember that the merge node is your B. So if I just click on my B, because remember that that's your background, okay, and then your read node, I think your beauty node needs to be connected with A, something like this. So, and then once you have connected that, make sure that your viewer is connected into the merge then, okay? So, and then you play this back, so that you'll come up with something like this. Okay, so perfect, good, good. And you just go test and change your resolution. There you go. Okay, so once we are at this stage, what you all will notice is quite an obvious thing, isn't it? Where this thing, well, this robot need to be connected, isn't it? So if you look clearly here, if you look on the screens, see that what's happening? It's basically slipping. Okay, so once you see that part there, and for the people online as well, I am actually recording this, and obviously there's a lot of things which you need to be fast forwarding as well. But I'm hoping that you guys can all kind of follow this exercise as well. So what we're going to do now is pretty straightforward stuff. So if you look here, how organized I'm going to be here. So firstly, make sure you organize yourself, because otherwise, if you got lines crossing everywhere, it doesn't look that good. So what I'm planning to do is making sure that my color correct goes up here, rotor paint, my merge node is here, and then what I need to do is, if I press on my Alt key, you see that little dot appears on any line. I'm going to simply bring this here to just organize myself, so I know that that's my part there. So that's my background. This path here is going to be my 2D or 3D elements. Okay, and I'm going to go procedurally now working on this. Yeah. So if you just press on the, is it? Okay, I think my command would be, if you press on the control. If you press on the control, just make sure that you bring that closer to this. Okay, so once you've got this, what we're going to do is simply now is try to track the shot. So firstly, let's kind of go here and press X on this. So I don't need to see any. Sorry, not X, D for just come off from here, and I'm going to just only work on this track first. I'm going to just press 1 on this shot, and what I'm going to do is go close as much as possible, and I can see all these little dots there where we can kind of track. And to make it more obvious, I can even kind of bring this bring the top. You see where it says F8 and stuff, the gamma up, and then just bring this down. So I know that I want to be working on that. Although you can see the screen's gone a bit highlighted, but what I'm doing here is simply going to make this, if I just go back, this as my tracking point. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is simply go on the tab key, press in the tracker, which we all have used now. Now you're actually using that in a very kind of professional way here. So what I'm going to do is simply double click on here, and I'm going to add a tracker node. And remember that because this is not connected, can you see on the screen, this part is not, this is all black at the moment because I'm not connected to the actual footages here. So I can just simply bring this this pipe here and connect that. And now I'm going to bring this down somewhere here to that. So that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to now track this. Okay, remember that I just need to track this down. So if I just play this button, there you go, and it's tracking it very nicely. And I'm going to just reverse track as well so that it's looking all well. Perfect. So now you can see that I've got a really good tracker point on here, which is which obviously we all want. Okay, so once I'm happy with that, I can literally click on these little red icons here, these little buttons there. If you want to have a look at this point here, just simply come off from here and you'll be fine. And now we're going to connect the tracker to actual footage itself. So if I can deselect that, I've deselect, and on the tracker I can go to transform, and I'm simply going to just click on here, and I'm going to just go to link to tracker 1. Actually, in fact, let me just make a tracker node's name, right? So tracker 1, so that's tracker for ground background. Perfect, so that I know. So if you double click on here and click in here, link to, perfect. So now so if you can all please now go on your nodes here. Okay, so now we need something to be tracked, isn't it? So we worked on, if I just come off from here and just open the screen for you guys, let's track this down now. So if you just play this now, if I can just go on my press 1, and if I play this back, so at the moment I've got my tracker sorted, but there's nothing to track to, although you got the actual image, but obviously you don't actually track to the image, you actually attach to a node. So for that node, we are looking for a transform node. So let's go and get a transform node, and then just plug it somewhere out here. And if your tree is very similar to mine, if I can just bring it up here, let me just only go on the tree there first of all. If your tree is very similar to mine, see that? So you got your color correct there, you got your rotor pane. Sorry, just wanted to make sure that that's right there. So, okay, so procedurally, I've got the background color correct, rotor node, rotor paint. I've got the merge now. The merge is obviously merging these two images, your background image and your robot. So, you know, which is gonna fly, it comes flying coming in. And then now I've tracked it, I double clicked on it, I kind of made a good tracking point here. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I've got a transform node. Now what I'm gonna do is simply connect the transform node here on this pipeline, okay? And the cool thing about this transform node is now, if I just come up here, move it around, I can actually click on this transform node and I can move my character around. See that? So now I can just do whatever. I can rotate it. I can, yeah, just go and kind of see that. So I can rotate stuff. I can scale it. I can do whatever to it. And I can always go back to where it belonged as a normal kind of stuff. So there we go. So I've got the transform node here. Remember, I've got transform node. I've got tracker there. And now what we're going to do is if I double click on the transform node, once if you see where you want your robot to be, I probably need to reduce the scale a tiny bit, somewhere down here. I'm happy with that. Double click on your transform node. And of course, here it's this translation. And now when I click on this button here, it says link to. It automatically, remember we've just named our tracker to tracker BG. I'll just simply track BG there. Just click on that and then translate. And now what happens when it's translated, if I play this back, see that? So it's nicely stuck there. So now I've got my tracking done. So now this looks pretty much okay. Yeah, sorted? Yeah. Okay, moving on. Right, so let's now work on this shot here. So if you look at this, shot, what is, as a VFX artist, you'll be given CG elements, some Photoshop documents, some audio files to just kind of match stuff to it. But looking at this shot, I just feel that there's no cinematic look to it. There's no kind of, you need to kind of create some kind of, if I just press D on this, so at the moment you can see that everything looks all very sharp. So what I want to do is blur all that out and make something, you know, when you're looking through the camera lens, so the depth of field. So what I want to do, blur the background a little bit more, and then while the character comes in, he's blurred as well because he's coming from the depth of field shot, and then he comes in, and then we bringing back to the actual footage itself, and that will make a huge difference from the cinematic point of view, from the depth of field point of view. So let's go and tackle the background now. Let me just come up from here. So what we're going to do here, firstly, is how we're going to make this background. So let's go on the background here. Let's grab a blur node. Just simply press blur, and then if you bring it here, see that? So this is where your blur node should be. And if I double click on the blur node, you can see what's happened here. So that's, I can just literally blur everything out. But what we need to do is, I'm not going to blur everything. Let's create a rotor node outside here. Okay, I've got my rotor node here, and I'm going to simply get on my Bezier tool and start thinking of, if I just, doing something like this. So if I just get my Bezier tool, and I'm going to start. So from this point, I want the blur to be, watch that, what I'm doing. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And this is where, you know, remember we were looking at how we can feather stuff around. So we can just go right in here, feather it right down so that it does look like it's not kind of cutting the edge down. So just kind of bring this up here. So that's perfectly fine. I'm happy with that. Let me just bring this up a bit more like this. Okay. And I'm going to connect again my blur in here. Double click on it, and this time You see what's happening? So this part is all quite sharp, and that part is all blurry. So I'm gonna just simply, and that kind of, I think you just need to eyeball that. So I can have it somewhere down there. Okay, so I'm pretty much happy with that. So just kind of try to do that exercise. Make sure if you look on the screens, guys, look at my. But once you get the principle, you know you can do it. I'm not dictating. Great. Are we all set? Can I just move on this? So once we have sorted that out, okay. What we have here is. Let me just go here. Come off from here. Lovely. And let's go and have a look at the character as well. Let me just press D and watch very carefully when it goes back. Okay, let's get this frame 1, and you can see frame 1, he's still quite blurry. So let me just go back here and let's set this up. Let me just go more blur there. See that? So I need to blur him as well, isn't it? Sorry, I don't know if it's a him or her, or I'm not sure. So I'm just calling him. Okay, so so I'm gonna just literally blur this character as well now. So if I can now go on this node here where my character is, the beauty character, and if I press the tab key and blur, and what I'm doing here, I'm kind of matching the blur with my background. So I'm going to just simply double click on here and I'm going to just simply match that. See that? So that's pretty much okay. See that? So that I'm pretty much happy with that. Yeah. Is everyone okay with that, or am I, because you can see a good screen there, is that okay? Are you all happy with this blurriness? So obviously when the character comes closer, obviously I need to make the character sharper, but I think so far, I think if I make that background a bit more blurry, let me just come more slight there, double click on here, let's go back in here and let's add more blur to that. So that's kind of gives that kind of look there. There we go. So we're gonna just add a bit more depth of field to that, isn't it? So, and there we go. I'm happy with that. But when I play this back, watch what happens. He's still out of focus, isn't it? So we're gonna obviously now animate the blur. Okay, so once you have kind of done the blur on your background, which is obviously, you can see that very clearly what we've done. We got the rotoscoping there, so you know everything's fine. You don't actually need to animate that, to be very honest. Okay, you okay? Yeah. It's all right. Good. So try to blur off the actual blur. So you see what I'm doing here? It's quite procedural, isn't it? So you got your. So we're working on a background. Now we're working on a foreground, and now once we've got that, watch very carefully what happens. So let's have a look at this screen here and let's see where does this character come in. So from this point, there we go. From this point, I want him back to its normal kind of sharpness, because from, let's say from here, and actually in fact, if I just go back here on my rotor, see this is the cool thing. I can always go back and start going up here. There you go. Perfect. So now I can come in on this point. So from here, as soon as he comes in the stage, and then I can go in the transform node as well. Sorry, let me just increase the size tiny bit. There you go. So now what I'm going to do, just bring that in, do that, and off we go. And I think what we're going to do after my animating the blur, I want everyone to go for a break. I'm sorry, I totally forgot. Guys, please remind me. I don't want you to, sue me by the end of 3 years. Oh, Nabil never gave us a break. And my eyes are gone from bad to worse. So, there we go. From here, double click on here. And what I'm going to do now, go on the blur node and click on, and oh, sorry, let me just double click blur. And what I'm going to do is click on this point here and set a key. Yeah, so I've set a key here on number 6, and as soon as it comes on here, what I'm going to do is go back to somewhere down here. So I think I can, if I undo that, sorry, let me just go somewhere down here. There we go. And then I can just go back to, and now I can obviously need to match this, the road stuff to it. See that? So you can always zoom in and kind of see how far. You don't need too sharp. You don't need to, I think 15 would be fine if you just look at these two to match. There you go. So I'm pretty much happy with that shot. So if I just now play this back, watch very carefully. There you go. Done. Okay, go for break once you've done this. Once you've done this. So we're nearly there. We're going good. I'm pretty pleased what you're doing. Yeah. So.
You know about this one,
Sorry.
just use the app or a food for downstairs and then you just walk it up.
Yeah. It's cool, isn't it? It's really cool. But I feel it's a little bit, it's probably it's cheaper for you guys. Do you show your ID card and was it the same price for everyone?
I'm guessing it's the same price.
I think it's expensive. I think you're probably a more richer than me anyway, so. You know, on your timetable, it's written this lab. Is that right? Isn't it? So, I'm for my next session, which is at 2 o'clock, I've got students emailing me what room we are, and I'm gonna just send them a message that yeah, it does mention about the rooms, isn't it? To a normal okay. Is that, perfect. Okay, so a few more things, guys. This will be such a long video. I haven't paused it, so it will be such a long video. But don't worry, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Anyway, so now just look at. So now we are happy with tracking. Everything is all done. Now have a look at this tree for me. And think about a tree going. Obviously, I can bring the tree down here, but this time I'm just bringing it this way. So what really the plan is now to add the shadow and this little light ring. So if I play the shadow itself, I think if I just play press number 1 there and press A on it. Why my alpha doesn't work when I'm doing a shortcut? It's just so annoying. There we go. And now it will work because once it's triggered in, it just... So that's my alpha here. See that? So that's obviously we're going to match the shadow as well because that's my alpha for the shadow, and that's the ring here. If I just play that, see that? So that's the ring somewhere down here. And now we're going to work on these two elements to add them on to the actual footage itself. Okay, so now let's go back. Let me just press the A there. Let's go back here. Double click there, and then let's go back to just normal kind of hierarchy things there. Okay, so so what I'm going to do here is add a merge node first of all here. Just press the merge node. Okay, and remember that what I'm doing here is adding a merge node as a... Remember that this is going to be my background. The B needs to be here, and the A needs to be connected here. So what I'm going to do is simply connect the A and press on your control key. Remember that we can have a very nice, neat work. So now I've got the shadow working as well. See that? So now let's get the shadow working. So that's my shadow there. Okay. So what you have here is a very simple process. So on your pipe, on the pipe where it's beauty pipe, you got your blur, then you got your merge. Okay, and when you're merging that, you've got your B over A. So that's my A will be my kind of foreground, and my B will be the robot. So just remember that we are working procedurally. And once you've done that, what you'll find here is your shadow is coming on top of the actual image itself, which doesn't look right at all. So what we're going to do here, if I just come off from here, let's come off from all this kind of stuff. Just go on the merge node. What it's written here, it says over. I want to make it under. So it's like, you know, those scales. So if you just come here under, where's my under? There we go. So that's all gone at the background of this. Okay. The second thing what we're going to be doing is by simply clicking on the merge node itself is I'm going to match the shadow. So let's stop this here and let's match this. So watch very carefully. See that? So that's a little shadow of that. That's the shadow of this kind of on count there. So it's not really, obviously the sunset is not really kind of tapping on too much on this stuff. So what I'm going to do is simply just match this gray to that gray. See that? So what I'm going to do is simply just bring this down a little bit. See that? So I can really kind of tint that in so that it doesn't look too obvious. See that? So now I can just simply bring this up here. Let's play this back. There we go. I'm happy with that. Let's kind of put this in here. Perfect. See that? So I can live with that. Okay, and I'll do the same for the ring as well. Again, I'm going to add a merge node here at the bottom here. If I just go merge, and then remember the B needs to be plugged in, and then that needs to plug in here. Again, just press on the command, your control key to make life easier, and that will be now plugged in. See that? So now that's plugged in as well. And the last thing which I will show you is if you see that ring is still here and it's off this shot, isn't it? So that these things, because remember that when you're rendering, okay, so when you're rendering stuff, you obviously don't think of, okay, this is how I'm going to cut off. So Nuke is really good in working stuff. So you render stuff from Maya, then you're bringing it into a Nuke, and then from this point here, if I just kind of bring it, I want the ring to start shining from this point. See that? So I want the ring to start coming not here, but just point somewhere down here, and then it comes in. See that? And that's a really good shot. So from frame 1 to frame 15, I don't need that ring to show. Okay, and simple as it is, I can just simply double click on the merge node again. I can go back on here, number 1, and get rid of that. And then on number 15, I can go back on number 15 here. Where is it? 15. And I'm going to just simply create a key. And what I'll do is simply just go bang. And I think what I can do, because it's still going to be here. So if I just kind of do that. Oh no. Sorry, if I just do this. I think that will work for me. Oh, that's still light. There you go. And that comes in. And there we go. See that? So we don't see that light throughout number 1 to number 15. And then it just comes in right when the shot starts. And then we're happy with that. Yeah? Making sense? And I think this is our shot for today. And then next week, we're going to try to get the lighting right, get more perspective view. And I think we're going to finalize the shot next week, to be very honest, because it's nearly, we're nearly done the shot. There we go. All there. Okay, I've got the shadow right. I've got that little pen right there, you know, the little, the light ring, so to say. And yeah. Save your work. Let me just go file and I'll just save this comp, so I'll know exactly where. Same comp, class Friday. So I'll just save it as class Friday. Yeah, is that okay? Is that making sense? How is that? Let's try to go through your stuff. Okay, so if you look at here, if you look at my procedure, so if I just go and get a node called backdrop, and I keep on thinking it was, and what I can do is simply start creating. So this was my background, so I can just, I know that, you know, so you can start name and see, as soon as you put that in there, it's really cool to organize yourself. So I can just say that if I just click on here, I can label that was my background. Okay, so if I just click here, just a backdrop, so let me just come up from here. I can even name that, you know, so however you want to name it. I can color that different. Oops. So do that again. These things, obviously we know that these are all our extensions in it, because we are still working on rotor, and you can create another backdrop here. Again, backdrop here to say that that's my rotor action here. Of course, you can change the color. Sorry, my screen is split and I can't even, okay, there we go. So this way, we can just see now. Change that to this, click on here. I can change. So that would be fine. So see what I'm doing here? I'm trying to organize myself. So this is all my transform and tracker, and this probably can go all in one. So I can just go again, my backdrop, and I can simply bring this down as my my 3D elements or something like that. So I can just put 3D elements. There we go. I'm happy with that. I can just change that to different shades. You see what I mean? So how And then you can obviously move stuff around. You can just literally kind of bring in stuff. Just remember that this is a very small tree, so you can do so much to that. Okay, next week when we come, we can add this element to it. This is just a normal picture. So I bring this in like that. See that? So this is only a picture like that, but we can just bring that in it as well. You see what I mean? So just organize yourself in a way that it's a neat kind of tree. Okay, great.